Hey everybody, thank you for tuning back in for another episode. Today we're going to make a quick video, and this is kind of just a video to kind of help beginner anglers, if that makes any sense. Someone that has not really dove into the sport yet, and there's a lot of techniques and a lot of different baits, a lot of colors, you know, the confusion of starting into bass fishing. So this is kind of a video for the beginner angler, but also this is a setup that works for anybody. I mean, I use this setup all the time. It's one of my favorite rigs to use. So let's jump into it. First off, we're going to talk about gear. And this gear is completely subjective. I guess that's the right word. You use whatever gear that you can afford and that works for you. Okay, so this is just telling you kind of what you need. And this is what I recommend. This isn't a super expensive setup, so it should, you know, pique your interest. But anyway, so starting off with the reel, this is a 13 Fishing Origin, not an expensive reel. I think these retail for like 70 or 80 bucks. I ended up getting this one on sale at Tackle Warehouse for 40 bucks. It was $39.99. So great reel. This is an 8 1-to-1 gear ratio. Nice fast reel, and this is an awesome reel. So this is what I recommend, a nice fast light bait casting reel. Okay, the rod, this is a Brandon Cobb Arc. Okay, this is a Cobb Series Arc. Love this rod. This is a 7'1" heavy fast action. You do not have to get the Cobb Series, okay, for guys that are just getting into it. Arc makes the Catalyzer series. Those are $60 rods, or you can get 3 for $100. A lot of times they put a deal 3 for $100. So, but you can pick any rod you want. Berkley makes some cheaper rods that are great. Abu Garcia, Shimano, whatever rod you want to use, go for it. Whatever you like, whatever is in your budget, go for it, and just get out there on the water. But anyway, so this is a 7'1" heavy fast action. The reason I like a heavy rod is because that gives you the option to fish it in heavy cover. Down here in Florida, we fish a lot of heavy cover, a lot of heavy pads, reeds, brush piles, sticks, stumps, cypress trees, you name it, it's down here. Hydrilla, there's a ton of stuff. So I like a heavy rod. Now, this rod has a nice tip on it, so it's a little bit more flexible. Let me see if I can get this in frame here. But it's got a nice kind of soft tip on it, but has plenty of backbone to get a fish out of heavy cover. So definitely recommended that. So far we have fast gear ratio reel. Excuse me, got a little bit of heartburn. Fast gear ratio reel. Okay. Heavy action rod, or a heavy power rod, fast action. That's the technical term for it. So heavy fast action rod. And then we do 65-pound braid. Okay. You can also do 50-pound braid. You can do 20-pound fluorocarbon. Whatever, you know, I like either 20-pound fluorocarbon or 65-pound braid, depending on what I'm doing. But the braid is going to get you in a lot more places, and I'll explain that in just a minute. So we'll talk about that. But throw some braid on there. And like I said, 50 to 65, because when you start setting the hook with a heavy rod, anything lighter than that, you're probably going to snap the line. So anyway, oh, my son's running down the hall. But got the braid tied on to a 4-aught round bend worm hook. Okay, this is not an expensive hook. This is a Laser Sharp Pro Series from Eagle Claw. So same company that makes Trocar. I'm really liking these hooks so far. I've been using them for a season now, season and a half, something like that. Really like these hooks, and they're dirt cheap. So anyway, I won't get into that, but really good hooks. 4-aught round bend worm hook. Okay, and then this is a 3/16 tungsten weight. You do not have to use tungsten. For you beginner guys, you know, you may be on a budget. Tungsten can get pricey, even some of the cheaper stuff. So use lead. Lead is fine. You can get away with lead. I personally like tungsten. I feel like there's a little bit more noise that it makes. It's a little bit of a smaller profile than what lead would be because it's a little bit heavier material. But anyway, won't get into that too much. But lead weight, tungsten weight, whatever you want to throw, this is a 3/16 ounce. You can adjust this to whatever your situation may be. I will get more into that in a minute. Then we go to a bobber stop, punch stop, whatever you want to call it, okay? And then it is just pegged down to keep that weight in place. So this setup, I have it with a Ultra Vibe Speedworm from Zoom. You can throw any soft plastic on this setup. This is literally just a Texas rig. That's all it is. But it's kind of a four-wheel drive Texas rig, if that makes any sense. So I have an Ultra Vibe Speedworm. This is a great go-to. If you don't have any other soft plastics, if you have $5 in your wallet and you need to go buy a bag of soft plastics just to get out on the water, whether you're, in a little John boat, you're in your dad's bass boat, you're fishing from the bank, a dock, whatever, go get a pack of Ultra Vibe Speedworms. They have a ton of different colors, and depending on your water clarity, depends on what color you might want to go with. So I kind of base it off of clear water. You want to go with a more natural looking color, a little lighter colors. Darker water, you want to go with something a little darker, something that'll stand out, that has a silhouette. If there's any kind of light, the sun, the moon, whatever it is shining on the water, they will be able to see that dark bait. But anyway, I would just get two colors. Okay, there's two colors I would get. I would either get like a green pumpkin or a watermelon red, something a little more on the natural side. And then I would get Junebug, or I think this is Junebug Christmas, whatever it is, something dark color, okay? And those two colors should cover you in any water. Now, I'm basing this off of Florida, so it's going to vary depending on your state. Please reach out to somebody that is familiar with fishing in your area so you can get good advice. This is a good basis to start with, but always look for somebody that's been fishing in your area. They can tell you a lot more than what I can. I can tell you about Florida, but when you start getting up north, I've never fished up north, so it's a little bit different. But anyway, this is a good basic way to start, and it gives you a good idea of what you need to get. So, Ultra Vibe Speedworm. One of the greatest designs of a soft plastic ever made. It just flat out catches fish. This is a very versatile bait. You can swim it. So you can cast it out there, let it sink for a couple seconds, have a nice slow retrieve back. You can burn it back. You can actually burn this across the top if you've got heavy grass or heavy cover, pads, whatever. You can burn this across the top. They will annihilate it if they're wanting to bite topwater, so that's a good thing. You can also drag it on the bottom, just like you would a big ribbon tail or something like that, like a Texas rig. This is a Texas rig. You can do that with it. You can also, if you want to put a smaller weight on there, let's say it's a little colder, for here in Florida, when it gets colder, they get a little slower. They want something that's, it doesn't drop like a rock to the bottom. They want something that has a nice slow glide down. Throw an 1/8 ounce weight on there, a 1/16 ounce weight, just something lighter. That way you have a slower fall. So you can catch fish on this bait in the wintertime here in Florida, which is awesome. So this is literally, quite frankly, the only setup you really ever need. You can just catch fish on this setup, and it's super simple, it's super basic. But here's where it gets a little bit dependent on what your situation is. So when I am fishing really clear water, I will leave this setup exactly like it is and just add a 12 to 15 inch clear fluorocarbon leader on there. I would go with something 17 to 20 pound. That would be your best bet. And you can still fish the heavy cover. You have that braid as your main line to cut through whatever that cover is that you're pulling the fish out of. But you have a nice leader so that fish cannot see the line or anything like that. So that's basically the only change you might have to make, depending on your water clarity, what color your bait is, and whether or not you run a leader. Now, I have heard multiple fishermen say leaders are the way to go, And I've heard a select few say it doesn't matter. If a fish wants to bite a bait, they're going to bite it, whether it's on braid, fluorocarbon, mono, whatever. They don't care about the line. I've noticed that I seem to get a few more bites in clear water if I don't have it tied straight braid. If I have a fluorocarbon leader on there, I do seem to just get more bites. So I don't know. Everybody is different. Everybody fishes different. So that's just my 2 cents worth on that. But that's pretty much all you need to change when it comes to this setup. If you have this setup, you can fish any kind of water, any kind of cover. You can get fish out of anything, stumps, sticks, whatever. You can pull them out with this setup. But also you can finesse it down a little bit. You can slow it down and you can do a lot with it. So this is my favorite setup, I think, because not only can you throw a speed worm's a great worm. You can throw a ribbon tail, you can throw a Senko, you can throw a creature bait, you can throw all kinds of different soft plastics, a trick worm, and make this Texas rig work. And you can pretty much catch fish on it year round. You might just have to make a few little adjustments. But if you're, but if you're just getting started in the sport, I highly recommend go out and get you a nice little bait casting setup with a nice, stout rod. Put some good braid on there, some nice stout hooks. Set you up a Texas rig like this. You can fish it anywhere, all the time. It's super simple and very easy to rig up. I don't know if I mentioned this, I use a polymer knot. So that's a super basic knot. If anybody wants a video on that, let me know. I'll make a video of tying that knot. You can find them all over. But that is my favorite knot. It's super strong, super easy. Never had an issue with it. So tie you up a Texas rig, get out there and catch some fish. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one.